Hello and welcome to EasyVote Tips. We are going to be talking about speakers who are presenting with your audience response system. These are people that have never taken the training, they are new to the software, new to the hardware, and they're certainly not very prepared. They may even be afraid of this. The first thing that you need to do is explain to them, just like the audience, how to use the clickers. From their perspective, they're just going to be navigating through the presentation as they always did, whether it's a wireless advancer, or it's a spacebar, or it's a mouse click. But for the users, for the audience members, they need to know how to vote. So to respond, simply press the button on the keypad that matches your desired answer. Respond whenever the question is displayed, not just when the countdown clock appears. In other words, when you see the question, vote. Don't wait for the clock. You can change your vote if you'd like for as long as the polling is open, which means you can vote 4 times, always changing your vote. It doesn't matter, only your last vote will count. Next thing to tell your presenter is that they have to turn off what we call presenter view on the slideshow tab in PowerPoint. Then you may want to explain things like starting from the beginning or current slide, using the button in the bottom right corner called slideshow. Perhaps everybody already knows these, but there's a need to quickly start the presentation, and you can do that from a keyboard shortcut F5 or Shift F5. At this point on slide 2, I could start from slide 2, from this immediate slide, if I press Shift F5, just like that. Then I press Escape. And if I wanted to start from the beginning, I simply press F5. I don't have to go to slide 1. Just like that. Press Escape to leave presentation mode and return back to design mode. Let's start the presentation from the beginning. If I'm holding a wireless advancer or clicker, I can simply navigate forward and then navigate forward, just like in a regular presentation. Now that I'm on a polling slide, I have to just pause, stay calm, and perhaps read the question to the audience. Read them the answers. Wait for any questions that may come from the audience. What if there's something that they don't understand? This is what the presenter needs to be really, really good at, managing the expectations, managing the crowd, and making sure that everybody understands what this is about. At this point, people may have started voting. Just like in this case, I already have 2 votes. And the clock didn't even start yet. I am now going to start the clock by simply navigating forward. I could cut the clock short if I wanted to, if I don't want to wait any longer, by navigating forward 1 more time. But instead, I'm going to add 1 more vote just before the polling closed. So you could see that everybody had the chance to vote before the polling was closed. When the polling is closed, which means when the clock reaches 0, you will be shown the results and perhaps even a correct answer if one was selected. Now, polling is closed and red, and that's a good indicator because there's a form of polling closed when it's gray and it's disabled, and we'll talk about it in a second. When polling is closed and red, you still have the ability to resume the poll. In other words, if I only had 3 responses out of 6 or 10 or 20, then I know something's wrong and I need to reopen the vote. I simply do that with F5. Unlike F5 when I press it in design mode, here in presentation mode, F5 is a command for the audience response software, and it simply reopens the polling. Now, additional keypads can continue to vote and add up to the total. When I'm ready, without the clock on screen, I am the one closing polling with the navigation forward. When polling is closed, we will see the updated results. Any vote that has been received prior to resuming the poll, will be kept and recorded, and any additional votes will also be recorded and counted against the final results. On the next slide, which I navigate to simply by moving forward like I always do, polling is open again. I can vote anytime I want, or my audience can, but notice I don't have a clock here, so I have to be really careful, and this is a tip for the presenter: if you do accidentally close polling, don't panic again. If you do close it, unfortunately on this slide I have already revealed the correct answer, but I can always press F5 and resume the poll. Notice one other thing with the votes that are already in. So I have 5 votes, but now I'm going to change a majority of them to a false answer, because the votes that have been already received can be changed to another option, since only the last vote counts. These commands, F5 and many others, can be accessed from a toolbar. We call this control bar. So resume poll is right here, and if you really need to discount or disregard this poll, you can click F10 on a keyboard or click this button here, Clear Responses, to get rid of this particular poll. It's not going to destroy any other data besides this one slide. In case every poll is important and you simply wanted to make a point here, the presenter wants to explain why true is true and false is false, then take another poll while keeping the first one intact. There's a method that allows you to do this. First, you have to exit out of the presentation. Since you are on a slide you want to keep, you simply duplicate it with Control D, as in David, or duplicate. As soon as that slide is ready, you notice that it's blank, meaning empty. It doesn't have any data, and therefore I can press Shift F5 to immediately start polling again. This means the old poll, old slide is intact, data is reserved and saved, and a new slide is created where I can cast new votes, hopefully slightly different from the last vote, since I, as a presenter, I have presented my case and I have explained why the answers were false or correct. When I navigate forward, I will close polling manually because there's no clock on this slide, and I simply navigate forward again. I can always go back. But notice going back to a slide where I left the polling now makes the polling disabled. Polling is closed and gray. The only function I can do right now is what we did before: escape and duplicate, or within that slide I could press F10 to clear the data. Those are the only 2 options. And that's really all for today. In the next video we will talk about other advanced techniques and tips on how to make your presentation more engaging and interesting. Thank you.